Meghan Markle and Prince Harry are sharing a rare glimpse of their kids as they celebrate the holidays.
King Charles has always tried hard to protect how people see him, but his recent clash with Prince Archie, his youngest grandson, has shocked many people. What began as a private matter has now turned into a big public scandal. So, what exactly did the king say, and why is it causing so much trouble? Join us as we uncover the details of King Charles's confrontation with Prince Archie. The dispute over royal title. Prince Archie was born into one of the most famous families in the world, the British royal family, a family with a history stretching back for centuries. As the son of Prince Harry and the grandson of King Charles, Archie's arrival on May 6, 2019, should have been a moment of pure joy and celebration. It was expected to be another chapter in the royal family's long, proud story. But from the very beginning, there were doubts and questions about what place Archie would truly have in this grand tradition. Unlike many other royal children before him, Archie was not given the title of Prince at birth. Instead, he was officially named Master Archie Harrison Mountbatten Windsor. At first glance, this might have seemed like a small, unimportant detail. However, behind the scenes, it caused a stir. The decision not to grant Archie a title wasn't just about royal rules and paperwork. It reflected deeper, hidden tensions within the royal family itself. Discussions and disagreements about Archie's future had been happening privately for years, creating a growing distance between Prince Harry and his father, King Charles. While Buckingham Palace kept a calm and neutral face in public, behind closed doors, whispers of anger and disappointment were getting louder. Harry, who had spent his life living under the strict rules and heavy expectations of royal duty, wanted something different for his son, a life that was more secure, fair, and free from the old-fashioned pressures he had faced. But the path forward was full of obstacles, endless rules, and what seemed like selective treatment from the very system he had grown up in. Eventually, the growing tension exploded. During a private conversation, Prince Harry and King Charles found themselves in a fiery argument, an emotional clash that left both men deeply upset. Although the exact words they exchanged have mostly remained secret, those close to them said the confrontation was intense. But this wasn't just an argument about a title. It was a much bigger fight, about history, identity, and whether the royal family should stick to old traditions or finally embrace change. The disagreement had lasting effects. Relationships within the royal family were shaken, trust was damaged, and even the stability of the monarchy was called into question. Although little Archie was too young to understand the storm swirling around him, he had, without realizing it, become a symbol of change, a challenge to the royal family's old ways and a spark that forced difficult conversations about the future of the monarchy. When Archie was born, many people expected the usual grand royal ceremonies, formal titles, public celebrations, and a sense of royal tradition being passed down once again. After all, Archie wasn't just any royal baby. He was the first child of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, seventh in line to the British throne, and a direct descendant of one of the most powerful royal dynasties in the world. But something about Archie's arrival was clearly different. When it was announced that his name would simply be Master Archie Harrison Mountbatten Windsor and not Prince Archie, questions quickly started to rise. The palace explained that this decision was based on a rule from 1917, created by King George V. According to that rule, only the children and grandchildren of a reigning monarch could automatically be called Prince or Princess. Since Archie was Queen Elizabeth II's great-grandson, he didn't technically qualify. At first, this explanation seemed reasonable, just part of the complicated and sometimes outdated rules of royal tradition. But when people looked closer, cracks began to show. In 2012, before Prince George was born, Queen Elizabeth had made a special exception. She had officially declared that all of Prince William's children, no matter whether they were boys or girls, would be given royal titles from birth. This meant that Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis all became prince or princess without any problems, even though, by the old rules, they wouldn't have automatically qualified either. As people dug deeper, suspicion grew that there was more going on than simply following old traditions. Many began to wonder if the decision had something to do with Meghan Markle's background, she being the first biracial woman to marry into the royal family. Meghan and Harry later revealed in interviews that, before Archie was born, there had been unsettling conversations within the royal family about what their child's skin color might look like. These revelations shocked the world and caused a wave of controversy. What had started as a small question about a royal title grew into a global discussion about race, privilege, and the old-fashioned structures that still ruled inside Buckingham Palace. If Archie had been treated like his royal cousins, this whole controversy might never have happened. But because he wasn't, and because the reasons given didn't fully add up, the situation exposed painful truths about the royal family's struggles with change, diversity, and modern values. Ultimately, Archie's birth, and everything that came with it, forced the royal family to face uncomfortable questions about itself. Though Archie himself was too small to understand any of it, the impact of his birth and the choices made around it would be felt for many years to come. So if the Queen had bent the rules before for William's children, why hadn't she, or the royal family, done the same for Archie? Why was he being treated differently, despite being just as closely connected to the royal bloodline? Was it still a symbol of unity and tradition, or was it becoming trapped by outdated customs? Let's take a closer look at the rocky and sometimes heartbreaking relationship between Archie's father, Prince Harry, and his grandfather, King Charles, and uncover how it all got to this point. Strained relationship between Prince Harry and King Charles. The relationship between Prince Harry and his father, King Charles, has been troubled for quite some time. Once they shared a close and loving bond, a connection built on trust, loyalty, and family ties. But over the years, that strong bond has been clouded by arguments, misunderstandings, and deep frustrations that only seem to have grown heavier with time. There were hopes of making things better, of finding a way to rebuild what had been lost. But sadly, since the beginning of 2024, the situation has only gotten worse. What once were private tensions became very public problems, especially after Prince Harry married Meghan Markle and started stepping away from his royal duties. Bit by bit, the disagreements between Harry and his father grew into a serious and painful rift, one that has not only shaken their personal relationship, but also changed the future path of the entire British royal family. One of the biggest turning points in their conflict came in 2020 when Harry announced that he and Meghan wanted to step back from their roles as senior royals. To King Charles, who had spent his whole life preparing to serve the monarchy and uphold its traditions, this decision felt like a betrayal. Duty and responsibility were values he had lived by, and he found it very hard to understand Harry's desire to walk a different path. But Harry longed for something else. He wanted freedom, the ability to live life on his own terms and, more importantly, to protect his wife and future children from the intense and often harsh spotlight that came with royal life. When Harry and Meghan officially shared their decision, it shook the royal family. This wasn't just about taking a small step back, it was about challenging the very way the royal family had operated for generations. King Charles reportedly struggled to accept his son's choice. Some insiders even believed that Charles saw it as Harry rejecting everything he had worked so hard to uphold. The situation worsened when Harry began speaking openly about the difficulties he had faced inside the royal family and how he often felt unsupported and isolated. But the strain wasn't limited to Harry's relationship with his father. His bond with his older brother, Prince William, also began to crack. Once, Harry and William had been inseparable, two brothers leaning on each other, especially after the tragic loss of their mother, Princess Diana. In those early years, they had been each other's strongest support. However, as they grew into adults, their personalities and priorities started to drift apart. William, next in line to the throne, fully embraced his royal duties and the expectations that came with them. Harry, on the other hand, struggled to find his place within the royal system and often felt like an outsider. When Harry and Meghan decided to leave the UK, it caused even more tension. William reportedly disapproved, feeling that Harry was abandoning his responsibilities. The brothers also clashed over how Meghan was being treated by the royal family and the media, and over Harry's growing unhappiness. What were once simple disagreements turned into deep divides, filled with angry arguments and emotional conversations that sadly ended without healing their wounds. Even though the bond of brotherhood between them is still strong underneath it all, it has been badly tested. And it may take many years before they can rebuild their trust and closeness. Adding to the storm of controversies, tensions escalated even further when Meghan Markle sat down for a famous interview with Oprah Winfrey. During this powerful conversation, Meghan made some serious claims about life inside the royal family, revealing details that shocked the world and deepened the public's understanding of just how strained things had become behind palace walls. Meanwhile, Harry's difficult relationship with his father remains one of the greatest challenges. Can time heal these painful wounds, or will the distance between them only grow wider, affecting the royal family for many years to come? Let's explore further Meghan Markle's shocking revelation. In 2021, Meghan Markle sat down with Oprah Winfrey for an interview that quickly made headlines around the world. It wasn't just any conversation. Meghan shared some truly eye-opening stories about what her life had been like inside the royal family. Among all the things she talked about, there was one claim that really caught people's attention. Meghan revealed that when she was pregnant with her son, Archie, there were private discussions within the palace about whether or not he should be given a royal title. According to long-standing royal traditions, Archie was expected to automatically become a prince once Prince Charles took the throne. But Meghan suggested that behind closed doors, there were efforts to change the rules. Efforts that would make sure Archie would never get the title, even after Charles became king. This revelation caused a huge stir. People began wondering, was this just part of a bigger plan to modernize and slim down the royal family? Or was there something more personal and hurtful going on? Meghan clearly believed the second option. She felt it wasn't simply about following royal tradition or tidying up the monarchy's structure. It seemed like a decision made to push her, Harry, and their son Archie further away from the heart of the royal family. The interview sent shockwaves across the globe. Conversations popped up everywhere, with people asking why this decision was made. Some said it was simply a consequence of Meghan and Harry choosing to step back from their official royal duties and move to the United States. They wanted to raise their family more freely, away from the strict rules and constant scrutiny of royal life. Others, however, thought it looked suspicious. Was this decision about Archie's title really because Harry and Meghan had left their roles? Or had the palace already planned to sideline Archie even before that? Questions about fairness started swirling. After all, why did Prince William's children automatically receive royal titles at birth, while Archie did not? Meghan's words hinted that this wasn't just a random decision or an innocent mistake. It felt personal. She and Harry believed that there was a deeper, more troubling reason behind it, and that belief played a big part in why they ultimately decided to walk away from royal life. The more people talked about it, the more heated the debate became. Meghan's interview had pulled back the curtain on problems many had suspected for years: issues of power, privilege, exclusion, and perhaps even prejudice within the royal institution. Some defended the royal family, insisting that they were only following centuries-old rules, but others saw Meghan's story as proof that something was seriously wrong within the palace walls, that perhaps the monarchy was struggling to adapt to a world that values fairness, diversity, and equality more than ever before. In the end, Meghan and Harry's interview didn't just tell one family's story. It opened up a much bigger conversation about whether the British monarchy could truly move with the times, or whether it was still clinging to outdated ways of thinking. Harry and Meghan's love story. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle began their relationship in 2016 after being introduced by a mutual friend. Their connection quickly grew, capturing attention around the world. In 2018, they married in a grand ceremony at St. George's Chapel in Windsor Castle. People from all over the globe watched as the British prince and the American actress tied the knot, marking what many saw as a new and exciting chapter for the royal family. Their marriage was seen as a symbol of progress, inclusivity, and a break from old traditions, giving many hope that the monarchy was evolving to meet the times. However, life in the royal spotlight wasn't as glamorous as it appeared. The couple faced intense media scrutiny, with their privacy often being invaded. Meghan, in particular, was frequently painted negatively by British tabloids. The constant media attention, including stories about Meghan's past, her family struggles, and rumors of tensions with other royals, became overwhelming. As the pressure mounted, Harry and Meghan began to reconsider their future within the royal family. In January 2020, they made the shocking decision to step down from their roles as senior royals, a move that stunned the world and was dubbed Megxit by the British press. This was a historic moment, as no royal of Harry's standing had ever voluntarily distanced themselves so much from the monarchy. During their transition, the couple aimed to gain financial independence by launching their brand, Sussex Royal. However, Buckingham Palace blocked them from using that title, which left them feeling frustrated. Despite stepping back from their royal duties, Harry retained his title as a prince and remained fifth in line for the throne. They also kept their Duke and Duchess of Sussex titles, but were no longer allowed to use His or Her Royal Highness before their names. When they left, Harry also lost his military titles, which had been an important part of his identity. This was a difficult change for him. Despite the challenges, they remained focused on their charity work and personal projects. After Queen Elizabeth II passed away in 2022, Harry's father, Charles, became the king. As per royal tradition, Harry and Meghan's children, Archie and Lilibet, should have been granted the titles of prince and princess, as they were grandchildren of the king. However, there was a delay in confirming their titles, leading to speculation that the monarchy was hesitant to accept them. Some believed this was because Harry and Meghan decided to distance themselves from royal duties, while others saw it as a sign of the ongoing tensions between the Sussexes and the royal family. In June 2020, Harry and Meghan moved to California, seeking a fresh start and a quieter, more private life, especially for their son Archie. Their daughter Lilibet was born in 2021, further solidifying their new life in the United States. They purchased a home, launched media projects, and began building a legacy separate from the royal family. By 2024, their ties to the UK had significantly weakened. In April of that year, it was officially confirmed that Harry was now primarily living in the United States, signaling their full embrace of their new life in America. Their connection to the UK became even more distant when they were asked to vacate Frogmore Cottage in early 2023. Frogmore Cottage, a gift from Queen Elizabeth II, had been their official residence in the UK, but it was no longer considered their home, after they stepped away from royal duties. But could the removal of their children's royal titles be linked to their decision to step back from royal life? Let's find out. Archie and Lilith's royal status. For a long time, most people didn't really notice that Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's children were being overlooked. Everyone's attention was mainly focused on the drama of Harry and Meghan stepping away from royal life and the public arguments they had with the royal family. But everything changed when King Charles officially became king in 2022. Suddenly, the question of what royal titles Archie and Lilibet would have could no longer be ignored. It turned into a serious and emotional issue that demanded attention. According to an old royal rule made back in 1917, the grandchildren of the reigning monarch were supposed to automatically be given the titles of prince and princess. This rule was made to make sure the royal family's traditions and structure stayed strong across generations. It had always been followed without much question. Because Harry is the son of King Charles, his children, Archie and Lilibet, were expected to receive those titles as their birthright. However, whispers began to spread through the grand halls of Buckingham Palace. Rumor had it that King Charles was thinking about changing the old rule. If this were true, it would mean Archie and Lilibet might not be given the titles of prince and princess, after all. This possibility caused a lot of concern, not just inside the royal family, but also among people watching from the outside. It wasn't just about titles, it was about belonging, recognition, and the future image of the royal family. Taking away Archie and Lilibet's titles would have sent a powerful message. It wouldn't only separate them from the royal family in a symbolic way, it would also push their parents, Harry and Meghan, even further away from the heart of the monarchy. Behind closed doors, the situation became even more tense. Harry had a private meeting with his father, King Charles. But this was no ordinary royal conversation about official duties or events. It was deeply personal. Harry came with questions and a lot of hurt feelings. He wanted to know why his children were being treated differently than his brother William's children. Why did Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis receive their titles without any problems, while Archie and Lilibet were being left out? For Harry, this was not just about royal procedures or saving money, it was about fairness and respect. He felt strongly that his children should not be punished or overlooked just because of who their mother was, or because of the choices he and Meghan had made. He believed Archie and Lilibet deserved to be fully accepted members of the royal family, just like their cousins. King Charles, however, had a different view. He believed that for the royal family to survive in the modern world, it needed to be smaller and more focused. Keeping only the closest heirs involved in royal duties would save money and make the monarchy more efficient and relatable to the public. But for Harry, those practical arguments didn't matter as much as what he saw as a basic issue of fairness and love for his children. The outcome of their emotional meeting was never shared with the public. No official statements were made. The palace remained silent, as it often does when family disagreements happen behind the scenes. Still, it was clear to many observers that the relationship between Harry and King Charles had become even more strained. What had started as a private family argument had grown into a much bigger conflict. A conflict about tradition, family identity, and the future of the royal institution. As time passed, more people started to wonder if Harry and Meghan's troubled relationship with the royal family had influenced the decision about their children's titles. After Harry married Meghan, it was obvious that things became tense between them and the rest of the royals. Some believed that Harry and Meghan stepping back from royal duties made it easier for the palace to exclude their children from old traditions. Others thought that because Harry and Meghan chose a more independent life, the royal family didn't feel the need to include Archie and Lilibet in the line of official titles. What do you think about King Charles' confrontation with Prince Archie? Let us know your opinion in the comments section. Don't forget to like and subscribe.